Moon Podcast Escalation! Hello and welcome to Sailor Business. My name is Jordan D. White.
My name is Chris Sims, and this is the show where we watch every single episode of the classic 1992 Sailor Moon anime and break it down with a friend or a guest, hopefully friends.
Hopefully both.
Hopefully both. I mean, they're all guests. Hopefully they're friends. This week, we have a very special guest joining us for the next 2 episodes, as we usually do here at Sailor Business. Janine Schaefer is here.
Hi, everyone. I'm also a friend.
Yay.
That's good. That's good. We're going to put a lot of pressure on people at the start of the show. Like, everyone who comes on the show has to, like,
friend or guest.
Declare whether there are friends or not. Because you know what? Because friendship is the most important power of all.
Yes.
I think so. That's a big lesson, everyone.
From Sailor Moon.
Yes.
We've got a good one today. If you are watching along with us, we are on episode 6. Is that right?
Yes.
Episode 6.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be watching Protect the Melody of Love. Usagi plays Cupid. I almost said Usagi plays Cupid because I don't know how to read anymore. Ever since those dubs came out, I've forgotten how to read. My only reason for being able to read was to read the subtitles on Sailor Moon. That is a sad fact of life.
I believe it.
I also really appreciate when Jordan was texting me this morning. He told me like 8 times in successive texts that we were watching episode 6 and 7. And I really appreciated it because he knows me well enough to know that I'll just kind of skim it and be like, I got it. And then totally watch the wrong episodes. So like he kept every text I sent him back like, okay. And he would be like, okay, great. Episode 6 and 7, like just in another text.
Oh, well, I just had to make sure.
I found that very, very helpful.
Oh, good.
Before we
definitely watched the right one.
Before we get into the show, episode 6 and 7, specifically this show, episode 6. Janine, what is your Sailor history?
Well, so it was on TV like before school. I want to say like my senior year of high school. So I definitely, because I used to play video games before high school. This is very sad. I shouldn't be talking about this. My time before leaving for high school, between like getting up and leaving, going out the door, I used to play video games. But then Sailor Moon was on, so then I would watch Sailor Moon.
Are you kidding? You shouldn't be ashamed of that. That's like the most productive I've ever heard anyone be in the morning. I would sleep until the minute I had to leave. I had
to like squeeze in, because I had a lot of like after school activities. So I needed to like squeeze in my gaming time. So I would do it before school. And then Sailor Moon was on, so I would watch Sailor Moon. And then in college, I feel like it was on again, like 4:00. It was like Sailor Moon, Pokemon, sort of Dragon Ball Z time on Channel 11, right?
Oh, really? So, that was not even Toonami? I figured that was when it was on Toonami.
No, I'm pretty sure it was like Channel 11 or maybe even Fox. Like it was definitely not, I don't think it was cable.
Okay.
So a friend and I had a class that we used to enjoy blowing off for Sailor Moon. And so we used to watch that a lot. So I loved it so much. Like I loved it.
So Sailor Moon cost you your education.
Yes.
And clearly it ruined your life.
Yeah. I feel
Which is kind of that's kind of in the spirit of the show to skip school and watch Sailor Moon. Were you also shoving pork buns into your mouth at the same time?
Probably just candy, but I wish it was pork buns. That would have been amazing.
Well, if it's a dub, they're pork buns, but you call them donuts.
Is that what it was?
They would always say, well, because they kind of sort of not really look like donuts. Not really.
Oh my god.
Well, they do it on did we talk about I'm sure we talked about this. I feel like we talked about this with Juliet when she was on the show.
Oh no, with Betty.
The onigiri on Pokemon that everyone loudly and frequently declares are donuts.
No, clearly not.
That's awesome. Yeah, so that was my big. And then we fit in some, because we were talking about this earlier. I mean, before the podcast, we would fit in some Smash also, because you gotta. Nice.
Now, do you have who's your Sailor Scout? Wow, why can't I talk?
I don't know. I was kind of torn between Jupiter and Mercury.
All right. Between the sporty and the
I'm at this point where like all of them when they show up are my favorites.
Because it's so funny. I haven't watched this show in such a long time. Like I haven't watched it since college. Which really is only 5 years, everyone, for those of you listening. Mm-hmm. It's only been 5 years since I've been in college, so it's fine. Everything's fine. I haven't watched it in a very long time. We'll just say a long time. And so I was starting in watching it, and the opening has Mercury and
Mars.
Oh, what's wrong with me? And Mars, yeah, in it. And I was like, oh, Mars, I loved her. And then I was like, oh no, but I really did love Mercury. Like she was probably my favorite. And then I was like, oh wait, but Jupiter comes on later. And I loved her. Like she was so cool. And then I'm pretty sure it was probably Jupiter or Mercury if I had to pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Jordan, who's your favorite?
Oh, mine's definitely Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I guess I knew that.
And apparently Chris likes all of them. Lame answer.
I do though. I mean,
it's hard. I know what he means.
I like all of them except for I say I like all of them, and what I mean is I like the Inner Senshi. I like the 5. Yeah. Because I've again I love this show so much, and I've only seen the first 2 seasons. Yeah. Like I've never finished it, which is one of the things I'm really excited about.
Have you finished it, Janine? How far into it did you get?
I definitely saw some of the episodes with like Neptune and all of them.
Okay.
But I don't think I was as religious with it at that point.
Sure. Okay. Well, yeah, because again, that was when that was much later. They brought those episodes over later, and so yeah, I had stopped watching it when they broadcast those as well. And I didn't see those until years later when I went back to look for them.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, I have such a nerdy thing to say that I just have to say because this started bringing back like so many memories for me as I was watching it. So I have to just say this.
Okay.
So I took like a computer science class just to, do a credit. Okay, let's get this out of the way, like whatever I have to take. And I was really into like early, like not early, but, HTML coding and stuff like that. I had my own website when I was in college, and it was just like whatever crappy website with like my fan fiction on it. But I took this class and there was a whole HTML portion of it, but my teacher like kind of didn't really know HTML very well. So he ended up asking me to teach the class the HTML portion. And I remember very specifically, I had a GIF of Sailor Moon and I like gave it to the class and I was like, okay, now we're going to learn how to put an image onto a website. And that's the image that I used was a GIF of her, of Sailor Moon.
What was the GIF of?
It was like a quick, her transformation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was I kind of knew it was going to be the transformation, but I kind of hoped it was going to be like from the little opening sequence where she's like eating ice cream and falling on her face.
No, it was like a little, it was a little give of her transformation. And I also had a little, not Chibi Moon, but a little like Chibi Sailor Moon.
Oh, okay. Phew, that was close.
Doing like a little dance that I also had them put on their sites.
Yeah, I think Jordan and I we disagree about Sailor Mars.
You like her?
But we definitely agree about Chibiusa.
I mean, I'll be 100% honest with you. When I finally watched the entire series, by the end of it, I was okay with her. I was like, all right.
Yeah, but like that's because you like if you stick with something long enough. We know this because we're comics people. If you stick with something long enough, you're gonna like it.
Right.
I did not go into reading 300 issues of the Punisher thinking Punisher was going to be my favorite character at the end of it. It just happened because now I know everything about that dude.
Yeah, I'm sure when we get to the Chibi Moon or whatever, or Chibiusa or. Well, I want to call her Rini. When we get to those episodes and she is just being super mean to Sailor Moon, I'm going to hate her. I'm going to hate her again.
Yeah, it's like, why is she so mean? These are dark days ahead.
Just a glimpse of what your future is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, so speaking of this episode, though, and watching this on the series on TV, this is another episode that never aired in America in the original run. There was no original dub for this week's episode.
I was going to say, I definitely do not remember this episode at all.
When I was watching it, I was trying to figure out why they cut it. And at first, when I finished the episode, I was like, oh, okay, I think I know why. I think it's because there's almost no Sailor Moon in this episode. She doesn't turn into Sailor Moon until like 3/4 of the way through the episode. Then I watched next week's episode and I went, oh, she also doesn't turn into Sailor Moon until 3/4 of the way into that episode. Does she only turn into Sailor Moon 3/4 of the way into the episode? I feel like it usually happens earlier than this. Am I wrong?
I mean, in the last couple, we've gotten a little bit of Sailor Moon, but there's no, and correct me if I'm wrong, I did watch these again last night, and obviously I watched them when they went up on Hulu the first time a couple months ago. But these are the first episodes where there's no twist to the action. Like, there's no new power in these episodes. There's no new stuff. It's a very, very straightforward. When Usagi, she transforms, she fights the monster dies.
Right, but it's more about her, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of Usagi stuff in both of these episodes, particularly the next one.
Yeah.
But these, I think that's because, and we're going to talk about this in next week's show. These are the last 2 episodes before we start getting other Sailor Senshi.
Yes.
The next episode after the ones that we're going to watch with Janine is the first appearance of Mercury. So I think that's what it is. I think it's just that at this point in the show, they've had 5 episodes of sort of getting down to the formula of Usagi. Like, if this was an anime about a solo hero, or like a tokusatsu show about a solo hero, then this would just be how it worked from now on, until she got her sword, which is how it always goes.
Right.
Although, interestingly enough, this episode does already sort of present a twist on the pattern, because for most of this episode, the bad guy's plan is going completely wrong.
This is
sort of funny.
The focus in this one is not necessarily on the Dark Kingdom conflict, the Negaverse conflict. It's on. It's very much like a Western superhero story in a lot of ways, because there's very much a normal person who's having a problem that the superhero needs to help with.
Yeah.
Like, this could almost be a Spider-Man story.
I could see it.
Yeah, Spider-Man, Spider-Man's friend makes a mixtape.
Right.
That's the plot of this episode, which I really like. Like, I really like this episode, and I'm not sure why it didn't make it. Like, it didn't make the cut. Do you have any other ideas? Because it's not particularly violent or scary. Nope. Nobody gets open hand slapped across the face.
I mean, the main reason
in previous episodes.
My guess is the main thing is they just were like, we want to get to the other scouts sooner, and said, so we're only going to have this many of just Sailor Moon. Let's cut this one, and this one. Yeah, I mean, it's disposable. It's certainly it does not advance the ongoing plot of the show. But I mean, for God's sake, if we're gonna take that razor to the show. No, it does, but it doesn't even advance the side characters. It doesn't even advance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't really do anything except to just give you a little bit more of her, and just a little bit more flavor to her and her relationships, to her schoolmates and to her parents. And I mean, her parents are in it for 30 seconds in the next one, but do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really do a lot except, I mean, it's fun stuff, but it's not mandatory.
Now, Jordan, refresh my memory. Did the radio show episode, did that air in America?
Oh yeah.
Because this one feels thematically, it covers, I think, a lot of the same ground of that episode, and that might also be a contributing factor.
That could be.
Because it's another one where there's a lot of unrequited love, and Usagi is kind of, the teenager who's in love with the idea of love.
Although it's not even really unrequited. Well, okay, let's get into it. Let's start the episode. So, I think if I remember correctly, we start with them again. I want to say Molly and Serena. We start with Molly and Serena listening to jazz, right?
First, we get. Have we talked about the openings? Because I love the openings of this show.
Well, other than you mean the ones you recite every episode, or
the teaser? There's the teaser, and then there's the little summary.
Oh my God, the teaser!
And the teasers are so great because it's they are always Usagi being shocked about what is happening and then saying that's unforgivable. And I want that to be her catchphrase. I want her to say that in the show more, where Molly's like, oh, or Naru's like, oh, Usagi, they're out of donuts at the cafeteria today. And Usagi's like, that is unforgivable.
In the teaser, it also mentions it starts this whole Bach is the father of
Yes,
music,
and then it's not the last. It's just like a throwaway joke. Like I don't know why I kept thinking that there was going to be like a Bach character in the episode, and then it's just like a throwaway dumb line in the last like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and
we all know that's true, though. We all know that Bach is the father of music. That's what he's called all the time.
Yes.
Well, to be honest with you, I Googled it because that's how they say part of, a part of the society that, refers to him as the father of Western music. And it's like, okay, I never heard that.
Bach's really like the Sailor Moon of music, if you think about it.
But yeah,
that was amazing.
So that was pretty funny.
So we have Usagi Tsukino. She's a 14-year-old middle school student. She's a bit of a klutz. You might say she's a little emotional. She's a Cancer. Birthstone is a pearl.
Blood type?
Blood type is I forget. Blood type's not in this one.
No? Oh, okay. I'm surprised.
Wait, I'm sorry. Back up 1 second. What are we talking about?
We were talking about Usagi's birthstone and blood type and zodiac sign, of course.
I definitely don't remember that being in this episode.
They're actually
the little
not
intro at the beginning.
This one.
Oh, they weren't? Oh, okay.
No, I just remember it from other episodes that is laid out. Yeah. That is one of my favorite things about anime and manga, because it seems so weird. And I know it's like a thing in Japan.
The blood type thing?
Yeah, like blood type.
Yeah,
those specific things, yeah.
Yeah, an astrological sign.
Birthstone,
because
I'd heard of in America, but like blood type meaning something about who you are was just like, what?
I literally did not even know my blood type until my daughter was born, because I had to.
Right.
Because they asked me, but I didn't know that until very recently.
I think I'm O positive, but I can't remember for sure.
Is that the good one? That's the good one.
Oh, yeah. No. Depends what you mean by the good one.
Yeah. Good one.
I think the best one is, depending on what your point of view is O negative, because that's the one that is the universal donor. I think Devin has, I believe she's O negative, my wife, and she gives the kind of blood that when they take her blood, they're like, we're going to give this blood to like premature babies.
Aww.
Because it's the safest thing for them.
That's awesome.
But that's how they guilt her into doing it too. They're like, premature babies need blood. Will you give blood?
Right. Oh my God.
The first time I encountered, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the first time I encountered the weird thing of like characters' blood type being listed was, I believe it's on the arcade cabinet. It might just be in the attract mode, but I think it's on the arcade cabinet of Street Fighter 2, which is such a weird thing. So you're like, oh yeah, Guile, blood type B.
Well, they're in
He's
fights.
A cool guy.
They're going to need transfusions.
Yeah, like that's what I thought as a kid. Because like Street Fighter 2 came out in like 1992. I was like 10 years old. I would make up weird reasons for things, and I was like, man, I guess this is their medical information card. It's got date of birth and blood type.
Allergies. Any allergies they have?
Oh man.
Guile's allergic to penicillin.
Hope not. That guy took a beating. He took a hard beating in that Air Force base.
My favorite thing about the opening is this whole thing going through it, and then like the little summary of who she is. They go through the whole thing, and then she's like, and then, look, I got all these powers now, and I guess I have to defend the world. I'm pretty freaked out about it, but I mean, everything's going to work out in the end, I'm sure. So
it's great.
Moving on. Everything's great.
It'll all work out.
I loved that.
It's pretty true.
Once again, we start off in the Dark Kingdom.
Do we?
Yes, we get a little bit of the Dark Kingdom. I don't know if we see Beryl.
We do.
Okay, so we see Beryl, and she is listening to a cassette tape.
Yeah, she's got her cassette in her crystal ball. Her crystal ball is a cassette player.
And she is, once again, working that crystal ball.
Of course.
I just want to know what she is doing. That is the big crowd.
What does she go and do after
she just sits there and does this with the ball? She just keeps swirling the ball.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, if she would say just once, like, okay, I got to keep my dark energy flowing into the crystal ball. But she never says that. Like, we can assume that's what it is. But she just looks like she's, doing very focused hand-only Tai Chi around this crystal ball. Get the big crowd of monsters again, which is a favorite of mine.
What's funny about it is the idea of what Jedi is doing. Now, obviously, we know he's trying to get energy, but he's basically like, you could like recast the Dark Kingdom as like get rich quick schemes, because basically all he does is he's like, okay, that didn't work. All right, what else do people like? What else? People like music. I got some music. We could do a thing with music. They'll spend their energy on that. Sounds good. And she's like, all right, give it a shot.
There's also a thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I definitely thought there was going to be, like, speaking of the cassette tape, I was like, oh man, cassette tapes. Like, wow, it really has been a long time since I watched the show. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I mean, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Like, for sure there were CDs around
Yes.
when I first watched this show. So I was like, oh, and then the CD shows up later. And I definitely thought there was going to be some like old people versus young people and like the format of their music thing happening.
Oh, nice.
I think I was thinking a little bit too much about it.
Yeah, that's too deep.
Yeah.
There's also a thing where they're demonstrating Jedi is like, yo, check this out, Queen Beryl. I got this time because I have a single. And when you blast this shit out of your boombox and or crystal ball, they have like a bouquet of roses that dies.
These flowers die.
From the ultrasonic waves. And this seems like it would be an extremely easy thing for people to notice.
That they were dying.
It also seems like it would be devastating. Like if you play this song once and any plant life within like 30 feet dies, that is going to jack up the world.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it will kill people the same way.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Well, we don't know.
Worry.
We never hear
it. Just makes them sleepy like usual.
Well, sure. Over time, they would have died.
Yes.
But then maybe the flowers just went to sleep. They would be fine. They'd wake up later.
We also get a quick look at our monster in human form of this episode. And I know we've talked about the fashions before, and she's got a really great outfit. She's got like some, like, so I guess they're leggings, maybe skinny jeans.
Looks like it looks kind of like a dancer going to her rehearsal.
Yeah, she's got some cute ankle boots.
Yeah.
Like, everything's coordinated. It's really great. I really love the outfit in this one.
Like a red blazer, right?
It's kind of like I don't know how to describe it because I don't have the words because I don't know what you call a lot of women's clothing.
Sure.
But yeah, it like folds. It's like how a bathrobe like folds over, and then I think it's got a belt. It's very cute.
It is super cute.
So yeah, then Jordan, after all that,
sorry.
We finally get to Naru, who has discovered jazz and wants to make all her friends feel stupid.
Which didn't sound much like jazz to me.
It's probably technically like, how else would you categorize this? All right, I guess it's jazz. But like, it's not a particularly jazzy number. It's just a really mellow piano piece that's, pretty. That being said, it kind of puts everybody in the room to sleep already, like without the subliminal, not in a bad way, but like they're all just kind of lying there going, yeah, this is a nice song.
It's called Rain from the Heart too.
There you go.
By the way, is the name of the song.
That's amazing.
Can you download it? Is it on iTunes
how
or
judgy Naru was?
Oh yeah.
It's so weird because the main character of our show, like our heroine, our ostensible viewpoint character, is like just immediately deferring to her layabout friend because she listens to jazz and that makes her so much more mature.
Yes.
Well, yeah, she says, if there's anything you don't understand about this piece, like just ask and I'll explain it to you.
So this very mature girl who is so mature because she's listening to jazz also then goes, I mean, it's a song from an older man. I want to go out with him, which is amazing.
I was also thinking, I wonder how old he actually is on the show. Like when I was watching this in high school, he would have been old, but now I'm probably older than he is.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he's probably. What do you think? Like, he might be like what, 30? Like at the oldest. Like he doesn't seem like a 50-year-old guy or anything. No.
But I was assuming
I was assuming like late 20s, early 30s, maybe. I don't know why I was thinking so much about this.
I mean,
like maybe I could date him. I have no idea.
Oh yes,
I don't know.
I think he would turn you down
do you
first.
Listen to jazz? Are you mature?
I am pretty mature. If you guys ever have any questions, just don't hesitate to ask me.
Despite the way you look, you're actually pretty mature.
Yes. Yes.
As Serena says later in the episode.
Oh, it's so good. God, I can't wait to get to that scene.
Okay.
So at the it's a recording studio or is it a radio station?
Yeah.
It's a recording studio. The monster appears in a cloud of bats.
I love it.
Wait, but the transition to the scene actually first, because the transition is they're looking at the jazz dude's CD cover, and then fade to he's living the CD cover at that moment.
He's living that CD cover life
because the CD cover is him like his legs and holding the flowers in the rain, and then fade to he's actually walking in the rain with flowers right now. Do you think he waited till it rained? Oh, sure. No, man. He just what did they say? Like he just is always in the moment, so he doesn't think about whether it's going to rain or not.
I think he waited until it rained because he's been building up to confessing his love for so long.
Yes.
He's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it like my album cover. It's a good thing that his album cover is like fittingly romantic and that it's not like Frank Frazetta. It's not like a Molly Hatchet album cover, or else he'd be riding in there on a horse cutting off heads. It should be a whole different show.
That would be a great cover for that smooth jazz song, though.
I'd listen to it. Look, what are you gonna buy? Are you gonna buy Rain from the Heart with a picture of shoes and flowers on a dirty street?
Is it gonna be
or
Rain?
Are you gonna buy
Rain from the Heart,
like REIGN?
Exactly.
The heart with Death Dealer on the cover.
That seems like a Meatloaf album.
Oh, it does. It's from Bad Out of Hell 3. Bad Out of Hell 4. With really deep cuts. Kyrene appears in a cloud of bats.
Yep.
Which I love.
Love it.
So good.
I was like, I feel like this might be noticeable, but okay.
Look, it's cool. The only way to get around.
You're just trying to sneak in somewhere. Maybe don't bring your bats, but that's fine.
They get bats all the time.
Oh, all right. Yeah, at the recording studio in the middle of the city.
Oh, bats again.
No, Jedi has told her to put the energy-draining subliminal ultrasonic waves onto the cassette tapes. She does this by holding up a tape and having some black lightning crackle around it. Yeah. And then just says, this'll take care of everything here.
Yeah, because basically, I mean, like, whatever. You have to kind of just, I sort of go, well, I guess they're just assuming magic, everything will be fine. But she just basically puts it on a cassette tape, puts the cassette tape in the player and goes, I don't know, from everything they record here, they'll mix in my tape too for some reason.
Yeah.
It's the plot of Josie and the Pussycats, the movie.
Good point. You're right. It is.
They have that machine that Parker Posey and Alan Cumming built.
But that's the thing. If it was a machine, it's more believable. Just going one tape, like, wouldn't they come in and go, oh, somebody left a tape in? Garbage.
Yeah, which coincidentally is exactly what happened.
The weird thing is that up to this point in the show, the Dark Kingdom has essentially financed like 5 separate businesses. Right. They replace Molly's mom, Naru's mom, in at jewelry store Osa-P in the first episode. But since then, like, I'm pretty sure like the Negaverse rented out space for that pet store last week. They are heavily investing in local business. And this time they're just bypass. Like, I kind of feel like this should be, and they do this in Codename Sailor V a lot, that all of the villains in Codename Sailor V are like musical acts from a talent agency called the Dark Agency. Right. Which is like, it's in the phone book under that name, which is hilarious. And I kind of feel like, judging by the pattern that has been set up on this show, this should be like Dark Kingdom recordings, like in their new skyscraper office, doing all this. But instead, they just go straight for Jam.
Yeah, they go to Jam,
which has an awesome logo on the side of the building.
So she leaves her tape in there, and just as she puts it in runs a character we will know, Akiko, by the end of the episode. But she runs in and goes, "Oh, I forgot the tape," and grabs the tape. Now she's looking for a different tape, which I guess she forgot somewhere else, which we will never actually find out.
Hiko is dressed like your grandma.
She's a professional lady, and what's the
a cardigan, turtleneck, and pearls in shades of teal and violet.
And then what's the monster's name?
Kyrene.
So Kyrene is like, uh-oh. She hides, but then she's like, oh, I'm going to kill her if she's trying to get out of here with this tape. Does like Freddy Krueger fingers. And then another person comes in and it's like, oh, well, if there's two people, I can't. I can't do this. I better stay hidden, and lets them escape with the tape.
I love the shot of Kyureen's claws coming out.
Oh yeah.
Ew, it's like really creepy.
Yeah, because her hand like snaps in different ways and elongates.
Yes.
And it's coming in
creepy.
from. Yeah, it's set up really weird because she's standing like her left shoulder is out of frame. Like she's on the right side of the frame and her left shoulder is off frame. But her hand comes in like perfectly horizontal.
Yeah.
And starts snapping around and her fingernails start coming out. And it's like, it is almost as though they were filming this with actors and the person who was wearing the prosthesis just was standing behind her and reached onto frame.
Right.
But like, it looks disconnected and creepy. And there's a really good contrast between, this beautiful woman and then this weird, spindly, misshapen hand that comes on. It's such a good shot. Like, I really love the animation in this episode.
Yeah.
So Akiko walks out with the tape, and now you mentioned Unrequited Love. Here's the thing. It's not so much unrequited love as it is that this woman is the most oblivious woman on the planet.
Okay, so see, I want to talk about that for a second because I don't want to step on anything. So we haven't gotten to the name of the tape yet.
Well, yeah. So this little short scene is she walks out to meet. She runs into I can't remember his name, Mr.
Yusuke.
Jazz dude. Yusuke. Our jazz musician who has come there in the rain, drenched with the flowers in his hand. She's like, "Oh, you're here. Hey, awesome." He goes, "Yeah, it's your birthday." "Oh, right. I forgot. Cool. Oh, you forgot an umbrella. Well, that's you. You're a crazy person. Here's your tape. You'll have to think of a name." And he goes, "Well," and then she leaves. And he goes, "It had a name. Like it's written on the cover."
If only you would like look for a second, you would see it already has the name. It's called A Waltz for Akiko.
Yes.
To be fair, it says that in English.
Maybe she doesn't speak English.
He's getting a little cute with it.
Well, so here's my thing, and maybe this is just me projecting. I was like, oh, she noticed. She noticed. She's trying to let you down easy, buddy, because you're being a real creeper right now. You're creeping around in the rain. You're all wet. You didn't even bring an umbrella, weirdo. You show up with some wet roses. You know she has work to do. And then you're like, I don't know, like trying to creep on her. And she's like, I have a lot of work to do. It's probably an all-nighter. So you're probably gonna have to leave. Okay, bye. Do you know what I mean?
Poor Jasmine.
Oh man, you just changed this entire episode.
Yeah, you just destroyed it.
I'm sorry. Then I was like, wow, Sailor Moon is really progressive, everyone. This is amazing.
Well,
I mean, I knew that wasn't really what was happening, but the setup was very funny to me. In that I kept waiting for her to be like, oh, Yu-chan, no. Oh no.
No, but she instead gives him an umbrella. She says, "Hey, take my pink umbrella."
Right, which I also thought was funny that we only see the umbrella isn't like it doesn't go anywhere that it's pink.
No. It just
it is pink. And then you have
pink.
this guy walking around with this pink umbrella.
That's
which
how
I thought.
he knows which one to take.
I know.
Look, it's a big building. Jam occupies a skyscraper. Right. As all relatively minor jazz labels do in Japan. So there were a lot of umbrellas there to worry about.
But she doesn't even take, like, he brought her flowers for her birthday and she doesn't even take them. I was like, oh, come on.
Janine, you make so much sense though, because it's so much easier to believe.
Yeah, you're right.
That like she would not be like, oh, I forgot it's my birthday. She'd be like, oh, right, it's my birthday.
It is my birthday.
Thanks. I gotta go.
I have to go though, because I have this guy with me. Like I brought this guy downstairs with me, and I imagine in the elevator. She was like, look, this guy is really creeping me out. Can you just like stick around? Don't leave, okay? Just don't leave. Come back upstairs with me. I don't know. He's being really weird lately.
Listen, can you text me in like 5 minutes?
Right, exactly.
Just give me an out for this conversation.
Exactly.
Oh my god, this episode's ruined.
I'm sorry, everyone.
Thanks for joining us for Sailor Business.
I mean,
Not
the
a
problem
friend.
being,
I'm not a friend. I'm just a guest.
spoiler for the end of the episode, we find out that they get married at the end.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. I don't know that my reading on it is really accurate, but this was my first.
He just bugs her until she marries him.
Right.
That's fine. So
No, they are in love. They're in love and they're both shy. That is, we are not going to entertain this horrible fantasy any longer.
So after this scene of non-love or obliviousness, one of the two, we cut to Usagi is walking out in the rain with the umbrella because she actually paid attention to the weather, and
Shockingly.
I know I'm kind of surprised myself, because you know why? Because she's in her brand new clothes.
She's wearing a new outfit.
She doesn't want them to get wet, so she's walking with her umbrella.
And it's, again, this episode is like on point for fashion design.
That's a fun outfit.
Because I love Naru's lounging around the house, full on dance outfit.
Yep.
But like Usagi's outfit in this episode it's so cute. It is like the cutest outfit.
It is really cute.
And then Jazzman slams into her and knocks her into the ground, knocks her into puddles, and like gets her outfit totally wet. And she's furious and becomes like a demon and threatens his life and scares him to death. But it turns out he's already scared to death because someone's been chasing him. So this is where we get a little weird flashback, which is not normal for these kind of shows. We don't usually do this, but we've jumped ahead and now we flash back because now we find out what happened to him. Well, he got out with the pink umbrella, and then bats started flying around, surprisingly, and they congealed into a woman, and they congealed further into a giant bat woman, or at least so the shadow seems to imply. And he got super scared, dropped the flowers, dropped the umbrella, and ran like hell. And that's when he smashed into our good friend Usagi. And so then they talk for a second, and he goes, "Yeah, now that I've like told you that story, it's pretty stupid. I don't really
I was probably just hallucinating, I guess."
Yeah.
What?
That couldn't have really happened. So, okay, I've got a gig at a jazz club. I'm going to go. Here's my card so I can pay for your clothes. And then she spazzes out because she realizes he's the same guy she was just listening to the CD of. What? And then he runs off to the club, and what happens next? Is it then she goes right to the club?
Then she goes right to the club.
So she goes to the club, and her and Luna are walking outside the club, and obviously they don't think it's a hallucination. They're like, no, monsters are real, like, so it was probably a monster. And
which is I wish that would happen more often. Yeah, monsters are real, guys. It's actually a monster.
Well, wait, we're going to talk about it later. It kind of does, that sort of does happen in the next episode.
Okay, we'll get to that one. We'll get to that one too.
Yeah.
All right. So
she catches on quick.
Right.
And is very calm about it.
Well, yes, that is true. That is true. She's kind of surprisingly brave at this point. Although again, she's usually pretty brave until she actually sees the monsters. So she goes. So they go to the club, and Luna, of course, says, "I don't think they're going to let you into a cool jazz club. You're just a kid." So she goes, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." Luna pen. That's why it's a bummer they cut this episode, because it's one of the very few uses of the Luna pen.
Love it.
She decides to do what? She turns into a hot musician.
A hot musician.
I love literally everything about this sequence.
Yes.
It's because we've talked about the Luna pen and how much I actually love the Luna pen. I love that it's her phrasing that she wants to turn into a hot musician.
Yep.
Very specific.
And then I love the end result, which is super. She turns into Pizzazz from the Misfits, straight up.
Yes, that was my thought too.
And she's also wearing stockings and garters.
Yeah.
That actually might be why this episode didn't make it.
Green hair with streaks of pink, or is it pink hair with streaks? No, it's green hair with streaks.
It's green with streaks of pink.
Yeah.
It's like
just belly out.
Yeah, she looks like
her belly's exposed totally.
And stockings and garters and a miniskirt and a red leather Michael Jackson Beat It jacket.
Yeah.
Like Thriller jacket.
And then she gets to zing Luna back by going, "Oh, so now I'm going to go in, but they probably won't let a cat in." Oh.
And then the solution is again one of my favorite things that happens on the show.
The best.
That Luna pretends to be dead so that Usagi can wear her as an accessory. Like, that is something. First of all, she does not look like a jazz musician.
No.
She looks like she looks like pizzazz. She looks like glam at best and like dirtbag punk at worst.
Yeah. Somewhere between. Or like, I mean, to be honest with you, again, we're in Japan, so like crazy, like, you know, J-pop performers sometimes looking like nutty stuff like that. But yeah, again, super weird. Definitely not jazz, considering that we go in and we hear that Rain from the Heart again in the club.
It's his one hit.
Yes, of course.
One song that he knows how to play.
So, okay, yeah, so yeah, she wears Luna as a little stole or something. Luna, and by the way, Luna's in doing this is not like close her eyes. Luna's eyes like bug out as far as possible when pretending to be a stole. Waiter comes up and says, "You want a drink?" She goes, "Yeah, I'll have a." The sub says ice cream float or soda float or something like that.
Soda float.
But what she actually literally says is she actually says cream soda.
Oh, really?
Yes, you could actually hear her say it. She just says cream soda flat out. And the guy's like, "We don't have that." And she goes, "Then I'll have nothing." And he's going, and just backs away.
Well, I think that he reacted to the fact that her cat stole that she was wearing was like moving around and like having some problems.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's definitely breathing, ma'am.
I mean, to me, it's just one of those funny things where like, it's one of those things that you know, they usually have rules about like you have to, you know, you go into a club,
you have to have a drink, yeah.
And then, but like the audacity of her to say, "I'm not going to have anything," defeats that rule.
Yeah.
Look,
He just
are
goes,
you going to tell a hot musician like that what she can and can't do in your club?
That's true. That's true. When they're a hot musician, you can't stop them. Out of control.
So we cut from there to the garage. Yusuke leaves the stage and goes immediately to the garage.
No, but wait, one more thing. Again, gotta point this out. You're right. He does leave the stage, and Usagi doesn't notice because she falls asleep.
The best.
So.
Look, jazz makes you sleepy.
So again, this is the Negaverse's plot already happening. They don't need to add the subliminal waves. It already is putting everybody to sleep, apparently. She doesn't notice the performance ends because they put on this jazz and she falls asleep and then wakes up and goes, "Whoa, oh, he's gone. Ah!" And has to chase after him.
So in the garage, he has his another cassette tape of A Waltz for Akiko.
Yep.
And this time he pulls out a picture of Akiko, and Janine Schaefer has ruined this picture.
It's so creepy, you guys.
What is the picture again? What is
the picture, it's just her in the same outfit, by the way, with her hair. Her hair's different and looks even more grandma.
Yeah.
But she's waving and smiling, and she's got her eyes closed. But she, like, if Janine had not said anything, I would be like, "Oh, it's like, you know, she's kind of shy." But now it just looks like she took a picture of her. Okay, creeper. Okay. Go away now.
Like, she didn't even really know he was taking the picture until the last second. She was like, "What? Oh, like that's what it looks like."
It really does. And I ruined
this episode.
Well, I'm glad I could be a part. I'm glad I could be a part of it.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if Usagi wasn't helping this guy for the rest of the show.
Listen, it all works out in the end. Just
all right. So what happens? So he's moping.
There are bats, and then
shockingly bats.
There are bats like just flying in the garage, and you kind of get the feeling that she's going to appear in a cloud of bats again and be really scary. Instead. And I talked before about how that earlier shot looked like it was from a live action show because it looked kind of like a live action special effect. And this entire sequence and some of the stuff that we're going to see later, I feel like they were actually trying to make it look like a live action show because so much happens that would be easily explained by, okay, that's the budget of a live action show, even though that makes no sense for an anime.
Right.
But again, I think this shot looks really cool. We cut to an elevator, and the elevator doors open, and it's just red light and bats in the elevator surrounding Kirin, who is like looking like demonic Prince in her purple blouse.
Yes.
Surrounded by it's like if you made a Castlevania game and Prince was Dracula, this is exactly what it would look like, which is amazing. I love it. It looks so cool.
Yes.
And he is so freaked out that he turns blue.
Yes. Yeah, it looks like somebody punched him in the eyes, like all of a sudden. He's like black and blue for no reason. Then we get Serena running down the stairs. She's transformed.
It's not a second copy of A Waltz for Akiko. It's the one that has the ultrasonic waves on it.
Yeah,
right, because
it's the one,
she had given it to him. Right.
That's why the bad guys are after him.
Yeah.
So Usagi's running downstairs. She's already transformed back into herself for some reason. And she's no longer a hot musician.
Yeah, she doesn't need to be anymore.
Turns out. She gets down there and they jump in the car and drive away, right?
No, well, there's another shot where Kyurine, in her human form, jumps behind a bunch of cars and then jumps back out in her monster form.
Oh, yeah.
And again, like she turns into a big batwing demon monster and flies off. So it's not like something that looks, it doesn't look cheap, but that she has to jump behind a car and then this other thing comes out is the other thing where I'm like, this makes, like, if this was Power Rangers, that would be exactly how they did it.
That's so funny, right? Why did they do that?
I don't know. It's a weird effect. Like I have no idea why they would do that, but I kind of like that they did because it makes it seem a little more fake and a little more real at the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So right. So she flies off with the tape.
Like, oh, okay, right. This is how people would do it.
Right.
So she flies off with the tape back to continuing her mission, and the guy's going to drive after her because he's like, no, that's my song. I don't want to lose it. Right? Is this what the implication is?
Yes.
Usagi gets in the car with him. She's super excited. Now this is the scene you wanted to talk about, right? Like this is a super silly scene. This guy keeps being such a weirdo with his, like, do you know what I mean? With his voice. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
He gets really embarrassed while they're in the middle of this really dynamic high-speed car chase. Like there's some really, really cool shots of, like, they're very quick. Like there's a lot of shots that are just like the car moving along a kind of like a static shot of the car moving along a moving background. But there's some close-up shots of the car like taking curves that look really great.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy inside the car with a 14-year-old girl going, it's just a crush.
It's just a crush at my age.
Like he normally, like to me, a lot of it is the sound of his voice, because like just the tone of his voice, because he's normally he's got this really kind of normal, like, I'm a jazz musician. I do a bunch of stuff. And then she's like, oh, and you wrote this thing for Akiko, right? And he's like, well, I mean, kind of. How did you know that? Because it's on the thing. Oh, okay. All right.
Usagi says, even an old guy like you has the right to fall in love.
And he says, thanks a lot.
Cool, thanks.
But he does do it in that weird voice that Jordan is talking about.
No, thank you. Yeah, like it just is so strange. I mean, it's just super exaggerated, but it's fun and it's silly.
He also asks why Usagi wants to, why this 14-year-old girl is so, eager to help him fight a monster. And she just tells him she's a superhero.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, it's because I'm a champion of justice for those in love. And like Luna is, again, still on her shoulder as an accessory.
Yep.
Which at this point makes no sense.
Yeah, it's totally
Luna
unnecessary.
Is freaking out.
I texted Jordan right after I watched the episode, and I was like, Luna is so funny in this episode.
Luna is the best. Luna's the best part of every episode.
So funny.
Until
this is a really really good episode for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like it's ultimately unnecessary, like it's still really solid.
Yeah. Just Luna face palming her way through the entire episode.
There's also a cool shot of Usagi sticking her head out the window of the car where her hair is blown around, and it was cool.
Yeah, it's a way that we never see Usagi's hair. Like it never looks like that.
Yeah,
it's very weird and wavy. So bats.
So then they get to they see the recording studio, and then they're like, oh no, Akiko's in there. That's where Akiko works.
And Usagi's like, what? Because she was not expecting that. Right. And the bats are hovering over every single person in the building, making sure they're all unconscious. Which I was at one point. I was
in.
like, that'd be really awesome if she's like, all right, bats, each of you take one person, beat them up, knock them out. We don't see that. We just see them already unconscious. So who knows?
So we get a much longer version of her transformation where like all the bats come together and cover her and then form up into this high fashion demon.
Yeah.
Like high fashion bat demon. She's got big bat ears, like actual bat ears, not like just points on top of her head, and big bat wings. But also she's wearing like a dress.
And there's like
and she has chest hair.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say, am I thinking of the right thing? She has a huge like tuft of fur, like right on her boobs, like just this random like diamond of fur poking out from her dress, from her beautiful dress.
And which is weird because she has a perm on her head.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so why not? Why not?
Then one of my favorite lines of the episode, Usagi and Luna get blasted backwards, and Luna says, "Are you okay?" And she says,
"I fell on my butt.
I just fell on my butt. Do you think I'm okay?"
I was dying laughing.
It's so ridiculous.
There's a great little action sequence here where the Kyurem has Akiko and she's got her claws out and she's getting ready to stab her in the neck if Usagi doesn't hand over the tape. So Usagi throws the tape in the air, and Luna, who weighs 2 pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Luna is a very small cat who was recently worn as an accessory. Jumps into the air and like clobbers Kyurem while
kicks her.
Yusuke saves Akiko, and then Luna lands with the tape and just stomps it with her front paw, and it's
her
like
little
awesome.
tiny paw. It's like the cutest, most badass moment.
Yeah, I put in my notes, Luna kicks ass in this one again because she is awesome in this one.
It's really great. There's like she's got like the one fang out. It's like really awesome.
And then again, it's not until after all this, after all of this, they've already destroyed the plot. The plot is done.
This is the best.
Now is when she gets to transform into Sailor Moon.
Yeah, it's 18 minutes and 34 seconds into a 22-minute cartoon.
Well, also wait, at some point, and now I don't know if it happens now or if it's later, they've been running around with this tape, this MacGuffin, like the entire episode. And Yusuke looks at the tape and goes, "Oh, that's not my tape."
Oh, yeah. No, it's that was before this. That was before this because he never took it out of the case.
No.
He just assumed. And so when she takes it out of the case, he goes, "Oh, that's not it."
Oh, that tape's got mystical dark energy on it. Right. I usually record on piano.
It's just so funny. Like this whole thing about this tape and my tape, and here's your tape. Then he's like, "Oh no, sorry, my bad. This actually isn't mine. This isn't mine. I don't know what this is. It's not my tape."
They should have just left. They should have gone, "Oh, all right." And just all walked out.
So Kyurem blasts out of the side of the building. That shot looks great. Just busting through glass and heading to an adjacent building. Usagi jumps out and manages to land, like she transforms at 18 minutes 34 seconds, manages to land on a stage in front of a picture of the moon.
Yes.
That I do not, like, no explanation is offered or required, I suppose.
So I had a question about the transformation as well, because I only ever watched these dubbed. Okay, Sailor Moon powers makeup. What is it?
It's...
Sorry, everyone.
I don't understand the question.
What does she say?
What is her
catchphrase?
Her henshin call?
Oh,
Moon powers.
No, Moon. Oh my God.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, for some reason I can't remember it either, which is
it's like
weird.
She says it all the time. We see it every episode. Why can't we remember it?
Moon something powers makeup. Like that's what she says.
No, it's not power.
Moon prism power makeup.
Oh,
Moon prism power makeup. That's what she says.
There you go.
But in the dub, I feel like she said something else because I definitely
she doesn't say makeup. She says Moon prism power in the dub.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because I was like, I definitely don't remember her saying the word makeup.
No, they definitely change a lot of the transformation and power stuff. She also doesn't say Moon Tiara action. She used
I
Moon
guess
Tiara
she doesn't.
magic in the dub, in the old dub, I should say.
Yeah. All right. Moving on.
So Then
Guess
she
how it
basically
ends.
kills her the typical way.
I will say though, for someone who is like as huge of a klutz and like sort of not always paying that much attention, I hesitate to call her an airhead, but she doesn't really pay a ton
She's
of attention.
a bit of a klutz.
She's a
and
bit of a
some people
klutz.
say she's emotional.
Yeah. She actually has like a pretty awesome idea for like she has to think a couple steps ahead in order to defeat this monster. I know it was really her tiara that beats her, but turning her like bouncing her own waves back at her through the speaker system.
Oh right, yeah. I forgot about that part.
Like she did that. I thought that was pretty great. Like Luna didn't have to tell her what to do. Yeah, like she like did that herself. I thought that was pretty awesome.
She like causes a bunch of feedback through a Marshall stack.
Yeah.
And like turns it into awesome blue energy that jacks up the monster. It's like really awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And like she had to really think about, okay, if I do this, then this will happen and then that. Like she had to kind of think a few steps ahead. So I think maybe people don't always give her as much credit as she's due. No,
you're right. And that is another bummer that they didn't use this episode, because you're right. Most of the episodes of this show, it's very simple. What you do is you use your tiara and then the person dies. And there might be some complications before that, but for the most part, that's what it is. And especially when the other scouts come in, then it's usually a matter of this scout has to do this one first, then that scout does that one, and then you finish her, and that's it. But the fact that she actually
fog.
Right, exactly. The fact that in this one she actually does a thing, like she does a thing that isn't Sailor Moon magic to win or to help win, is pretty great.
Yeah.
Which I totally forgot about that.
Back at Jam Records, Akiko is bandaging up Yusuke's leg, and
she says, "You're lucky this wasn't your hand, or else you wouldn't have been able to play the piano anymore." And it's like, well, you're lucky that you didn't just die, which I thought was pretty funny. That she wasn't like, "You're lucky you didn't die." She was like, "You're really lucky you didn't like hurt your hand, or else how would we make music?"
Because she's oblivious. You don't understand.
But then there's such a good line. Because he says like, hey, "It's a good thing you didn't get hurt, because I wouldn't be able to play the piano if you got hurt too."
Yeah.
That is, look, say what you will. That is smooth.
It was pretty smooth.
So that's what it was. She hated him until that line.
Yeah.
He says that and she's like, all right,
You're not so bad.
That's pretty good.
So back at Naru's house, they're listening to jazz some unspecified amount of time later. I like to imagine this is the next day.
It cannot be the next day.
And there's like, yeah, Yusuke got married and also cut a new album about Sailor Moon.
Yeah. Oh man, so great.
So yeah, Yusuke wrote an album, basically did a jazz concept album about Sailor Moon. If anyone out there has Yusuke Amada's second album, please send it to us.
Or even if you can just translate what it says, because I can't
It's actually translated in the dub.
Was it? Oh, what does it say?
I don't know, because I'm watching the subs while we record.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
It's like Yusuke Amada's second album, the girl who fights for justice and love or something. It's exactly what you would expect.
Nice.
It's basically like, hey, thanks for making me live, Sailor Moon.
You're making me live. He does a cover of that.
Now, what's weird is that Yusuke Amada, right? Yusuke Amada, he is driving around with Usagi undisguised. No Sailor Moon stuff. Just straight up, Usagi's in his car.
Yes.
Then Usagi vanishes, and Sailor Moon defeats the monster. And then he cuts an album about Sailor Moon, talking about and again, she describes herself as a champion of justice for those in love.
Hang on.
And that's basically what the album says.
Hang on a second, because I don't know that he saw Sailor Moon. He might have just been writing an album.
He doesn't see Sailor Moon.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he just wrote an album about Usagi.
He sees Sailor Moon. It's Sailor Moon on the album cover.
It's Sailor Moon's silhouette, which is also Usagi's silhouette.
Well, yeah, but in a shorter skirt.
He had to take some license.
Well, he is a creeper.
So my question is Yusuke the first person outside the group, really the first person to find out Usagi's secret identity?
No, like I said, I honestly think he just wrote about Usagi.
No, it's definitely Sailor Moon on the album cover.
All right.
It's because she's doing the pose, standing in front of the moon.
That's true. That's a good point.
But he also
that is a good point.
But he doesn't know who Usagi is.
Yeah, but he saw, like, if he sees her on the street, he's going to be like, hey, that little girl's Sailor Moon.
Maybe.
I know because I took her for a ride in my car.
Yeah, that gets weird. Well, that's that episode.
That is this episode. So now it's time for our segment that I like a lot, where we fix the biggest problem with the Japanese version of Sailor Moon, that there is not a moral lesson laid out for you at the end of each episode. This is time for Sailor Moon Says, where we talk about what we learned from each episode. Janine, what did you learn from this episode of Sailor Moon?
Oh man, I didn't know that this was part of the homework.
No, it's sprang on you at the last second.
Well, I guess I learned how to deal with creeper dudes.
Marry them?
Marry them?
Mummy, and that answer is just marry them. Just give in. You're not going to win. Just marry them.
Oh.
It's going to be okay in the end, probably.
Yikes.
It was pretty bleak.
Dark.
It's pretty bleak out there, you guys.
Damn.
Jordan, what did you learn? Did you learn something maybe not quite as depressing?
I learned that you can willpower your way through a 2-drink minimum, apparently. You just go, I'd rather not. And they go, all right. Can't argue with that audacity.
I learned that even an old person like me, at the age of 32, has the right to fall in love.
Amazing.
It's all
Sailor
true.
Moon Says. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Sailor Business. Thank you all for listening. Janine, before we go, can you let everyone know where they can find you online?
Sure. I am on Twitter at J9. That's the letter 9. Schaefer.
The letter 9?
The number 9.
Oh God, you guys. It's not even early anymore. I can't blame it on that. Yes, J9, the number 9, Schaefer. And I also have.
You should spell Schaefer just to help them out.
Pardon?
You should spell Schaefer just to help them out.
It's SCHAEFER. And I also have a Tumblr, which I don't really update as much as I should, but I've been thinking I need to get back into it, which is heykidscats.tumblr.com. And it is about the intersection between fans of comics and fans of cats.
I think I have mentioned this before. I never got yelled at on the internet like I did when I say I didn't like cats.
It's pretty crazy that you would even say that. I mean, look, you can have the thought if you want, but keep it to yourself.
Yeah,
I was carrying my burden in secret shame.
Exactly.
And when we get to the episode that's all about Luna and all the zillion cats, you better fake it, because I love that episode.
Oh, no. Listen, I like that episode.
Okay, good.
I love that episode. That episode is bananas.
Good. All right.
There's a lot of drawings of cats' buttholes in that episode. Everybody can look forward to that.
We call those starfish, Chris.
Oh.
We will be back